Why are you putting me on the spot like this? Gosh.
Justin Bieber's visible discomfort during one of Ellen's pranks was far from the only awkward moment. Over the years, her interviews have left many stars reeling, and some weren't afraid to call her out. We're breaking down Ellen's most disrespectful moments, and how celebrities fought back, beginning with Mariah Carey and her unforgettable champagne moment. In 2008, Mariah Carey appeared on Ellen's show amid pregnancy rumors.
That you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
Ellen had a plan to pressure Mariah into revealing her secret by offering her champagne on air.
Let's just toast with champagne and decide.
But they've been saying that since we. I can have some champagne. It's
As the interview progressed, the tension grew.
Can't have champagne?
That's not champagne because you can't.
No, it
have
is.
Is it really?
Mariah, caught off guard, tried to dodge Ellen's offers without revealing her condition.
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? No,
Are you trying
I'm
to
not
just-
going to ask you if you're pregnant or
This
not.
is
I'm just
peer
gonna
pressure.
say.
Do you see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
But Ellen kept pushing, making the situation more awkward.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe her. Why would we toast to that?
Mariah tried to brush it off, but Ellen didn't let up, determined to get her scoop.
I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
The truth, Mariah was indeed pregnant at the time. Sadly, she suffered a miscarriage shortly after the episode aired. This fact makes Ellen's tactics that day seem even worse. Years later, Mariah admitted she felt extremely uncomfortable during that interview. It shows how Ellen's style often left her guests squirming in their seats. And this was just the start of Ellen's problematic interview techniques. Celine Dion, a global superstar, found herself in a tense moment with Ellen DeGeneres during an interview. The tension arose when Ellen made a comment about Celine's son's long hair.
He is beautiful, but look at his hair. When are you going to cut that hair?
Do you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem. That is some long hair.
Celine quickly defended her son's right to choose his own hairstyle. She pointed out the double standard of people criticizing both cutting and not cutting children's hair.
No, I have to say, it's amazing, right? You cut some people shave the head of their children. And people say, oh, isn't that terrible? Well, I don't even cut my son's hair, and they say, oh my God, when is she gonna cut her son's hair?
Right.
You know?
The interview reached its peak when Celine firmly declared that she would cut her son's hair when he was ready.
The long hair, do you know that Rene Charles makes his own decisions most of the time?
Rene Charles is your son's name?
My son
Yeah.
makes his decision about this. When he's
Sure.
ready, I'll cut it. And
Ellen was left scrambling, realizing she had crossed a line once again.
whatever I will do, I won't please everyone.
This incident wasn't isolated. Ellen's boundary-crossing behavior extended to other guests, including young celebrities like Justin Bieber. Remember Justin Bieber's awkward moment on Ellen's show in 2015? It was supposed to be a simple interview, but things took a cringeworthy turn when Ellen ambushed Justin with a giant blurred photo of him naked on vacation in Bora Bora.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't know what this is gonna look like, and then it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
You could see the discomfort written all over Justin's face as Ellen grilled him about the paparazzi shots and the woman in the background.
So there's a young woman in the background you can see in the bed.
Yeah, I know.
Is that your girlfriend?
No, it's not.
Just a girl that you were in Bora
Just a
Bora
friend.
with?
Yeah.
Justin tried to brush it off, but Ellen kept pushing with invasive questions.
Just brought a friend to Bora Bora?
Yeah.
She's just a friend?
She's just a friend.
Wow.
The breaking point came when Justin covered his face with his hands, whispering stop as the audience laughed.
And you're just naked with your friend?
Why are you putting me on the spot like this? Gosh. Stop. You're making me blush, dude.
Justin wasn't the only one to face Ellen's boundary-pushing tactics. Taylor Swift found herself in the hot seat many times, too.
I am Taylor Swift. I am dating blank.
Nobody.
During a 2012 interview, Ellen ambushed Taylor by bringing up Zac Efron as her boyfriend, which Swift quickly denied.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while because we didn't date.
Yes, you did. Why do you deny it?
Because we didn't.
But Ellen wasn't done.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's talk about your number one hit, We Are Never, Ever, 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 Ever Gonna Get Back Together. Who's that about?
She projected giant photos of Taylor's exes on a screen and told her to ring a bell if any inspired her breakup song, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together.
I'm going to show pictures. Here's a bell, and you ring it when. Oh my God.
Taylor squirming as she tried to deflect Ellen's probing questions about each relationship. It was painful to watch. Finally, Taylor snapped.
All right.
This makes me feel so bad about myself. Every time I come up here, you put like a different dude up there on the screen. And it just makes me really question like what I stand for as a human being.
Ellen's love life inquisition didn't stop with Taylor Swift, though. Other celebrities found themselves in the hot seat, too. But this time, things played out a bit differently. Dakota Johnson's appearance on Ellen's show quickly turned into a masterclass in shutting down a manipulative host. When Ellen claimed she wasn't invited to Dakota's birthday party, Dakota fired back with the truth.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch of about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
The tension in the room skyrocketed as Ellen visibly struggled to respond.
Yeah.
But I did invite you and you didn't come. So.
This time you invited me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Dakota didn't let up, calling on Ellen's own producer to back her up. An awkward silence fell over the studio as Ellen realized she'd been caught in a lie.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was
he's
invited?
right there.
Why didn't I go?
I don't know.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
With those simple words, she exposed Ellen's fabricated story for all to see. The audience was stunned, and Ellen was left grasping for straws.
Yes.
She's my favorite comedian. Other than you. Bye.
This moment became a turning point in how celebrities handled Ellen's tactics. While some celebrities took subtle jabs at Ellen, others went for a more direct approach when pushed too far.
And it's Hassan Minhaj.
No.
Yes.
No.
Really?
Well, my name is Hassan Minhaj.
Hassan Minhaj didn't let Ellen's mispronunciation of his name slide during his 2019 appearance. He interrupted her, firmly correcting her on national television.
The real way you pronounce it, and this is a big deal because my parents are here, it's Hassan Minhaj.
He even called out the double standard in name pronunciation, pointing out,
People always mispronounce it. They're always like, Hassan Minhaj, Hussein. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce it. Meet my son, Higsby Witherthrottle III. And I'm like, how do you not pronounce Hassan? Try it.
This wasn't the first time Ellen faced pushback from a guest, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. Wendy Williams, known for her sharp tongue, once appeared on Ellen's show, and things didn't go smoothly. Ellen asked Wendy why she threw shade at Kanye West and Kim Kardashian during their first pregnancy in 2013. Wendy responded,
And what are your thoughts on Kanye?
I mean, I'm happy for her. She wanted a baby. Encourage me. But I've been saying she's going to be a single mom. And he is going to be a lot to deal with.
Wendy then shifted gears and applauded Ellen's veganism and her PETA support, but followed it up with,
You're totally vegan.
Yeah, but that's all right.
How do you live without bacon?
Ellen, unamused, replied,
Well, because I think pigs are smart animals.
Years later, Wendy returned and joked that Ellen and Justin Bieber looked alike.
Okay. Oh, gosh. As much as I want to not like him, I love his new song, and he really is cute. And some people say that he looks like you.
Do I look like Justin Bieber?
The exchange was awkward, and Wendy's humor did little to ease tensions. Cher, on the other hand, didn't hold back when Ellen's teasing went too far during a game of 5-second rule.
Anybody on really? You're like, really? You eat it? And you.
I love it. I don't get it much, but I love chocolate and cake.
When Ellen made a comment about Cher's remarks on chocolate,
Eat chocolate and you're like, you're in the mood?
No,
Well,
no.
that's
It's
when
like
you-
I don't get to have chocolate. I mean, look, I'm working on my body, and I just don't.
Right.
Like,
the legendary singer snapped back with a sharp,
I have chocolate. I'm lying.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
And then it turns you on?
No, it doesn't turn
You
me
just said
on.
it did.
No, I didn't mean it in that way.
Okay.
Bitch.
Cher's face made it clear this wasn't just playful banter. These cringeworthy moments chipped away at Ellen's carefully crafted public image as America's friendliest talk show host. As more stars stood their ground, viewers began to see through the act. Ellen's reputation took hit after hit.
What is your favorite part of your body?
But when Kanye West appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show, he handled things differently, taking full control of the conversation and turning a casual discussion into an unforgettable display of raw honesty.
Now everybody's trying to charge. I don't give a how much you sold. If you playing on radio, are you connecting? Picasso is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Name somebody living that you can name in the same breath as them. Human race, one civilization. We're a blip in the existence of the universe. And we constantly trying to pull each other down, not doing things to help each other. Isn't that so funny? The people point fingers at the people who have influenced us the most. They talk the most about the people who cared the most. I'm sorry, daytime television. I'm sorry for the realness.
Now, it's not daytime television.
What do you mean, Peter?
That was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit.
Sometimes interviewers cross over the line, leaving celebrities no choice but to shut them down. Here are 11 brutal times celebrities destroyed disrespectful interviewers, starting with one of the most unforgettable moments when Mike Tyson's explosive response during a live interview. What was supposed to be a simple promo for his one-man show quickly took a nasty turn when reporter Nathan Downer brought up Tyson's past conviction, even going as far as calling him a convicted rapist.
No, I didn't read up on him. I watched him on television. Right. You know what I mean? In the States, I mean, you know, he's a big hit in the States. He's a big hit.
Now, some of your critics would say, you know, there's a race for mayor. We know you're a convicted rapist. This could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that?
That's when Iron Mike lost it. Tyson fired back with a string of curses, repeatedly calling Downer a piece of then took the reporter down.
How would you respond to that?
Hey, I don't know who said that. You're the only one I heard say that. You know what I mean? And I don't have no comment to that, you know, because it's negative and you're being negative. And I met the mayor, right, and nothing they can do about it.
We actually had a really good time. We talked about George Cervallo, who's a legend in your city, great man, with whom Mike spent quite a bit of time yesterday talking about his life, highs and lows.
It's so interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
Hey,
with that comment.
Come on.
No, that was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit.
You know, we're doing live TV.
Hey, I don't care. What are you gonna do?
It just goes to show how quickly a simple interview can turn into a full-blown disaster when someone hits a nerve.
Is it nerve-wracking for you to do something like this, or is it more nervous for you to box? How does it compare?
I don't know. It's more nerve-wracking for me to hear us talking to a rat piece of shit like you.
Come on, Mike.
No, because you're a piece of shit.
All right.
You really have to.
We're gonna wrap up this interview. Thank you for coming in.
Tyson's candid approach set the stage for other celebrities to assertively handle intrusive questions, just like how Tom Cruise showed us there's a classier way to destroy pushy reporters than losing your cool.
Everybody's different, Peter. I don't buy into this whole thing of being normal. There's no such thing as normal. When you really look at someone's life and you look into their life, everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone has something that is going on that is very unique to them.
While promoting a movie, Cruise found himself in a sticky situation when an interviewer started digging into his personal life. Out of nowhere, the question shifted to Cruise's ex-wife, Nicole Kidman.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years.
Listen, we raised children. How do you answer that? How do you answer that question? She's someone that I plan on getting married again.
You do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And having kids?
Absolutely.
But Nicole was a major part of your life and a love of your life at the time.
I loved Nick very much. There's no question.
When pressed further about Kidman, Cruise's patience wore thin. He shut the interview down.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's work?
Listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now.
Cruise then schooled the interviewer on how to do his job properly.
Here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
Well, I suppose they're questions
Peter,
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay, so I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I apologize for that
Good.
sincerely.
Good.
Cruz's cool-headed yet assertive response was widely praised, showing the perfect way to handle intrusive questions while maintaining professionalism. His assertiveness mirrors the grace Anne Hathaway displayed when she faced an uncomfortable situation of her own. It was 2012, and Hathaway was riding high on the success of Les Miserables. She appeared on the Today Show to discuss her role, but instead of talking about the movie, host Matt Lauer decided to focus on a recent paparazzi incident.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
But instead of reacting with anger or embarrassment, she took a steadying breath and tackled the issue head on.
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
I think it kind of made me sad on two accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment, and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it.
Hathaway turned the conversation around, connecting the incident to the themes of her movie, making a clear link to her character Fantine's struggles in Les Miserables.
And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis, because that's what my character is. She is someone who is forced to sell sex to benefit her child because she has nothing and there's no social safety net. And so let's get back to Les Mis.
Meanwhile, Lauer came off looking like a total creep who was more interested in embarrassing his guests than having a real conversation. Hathaway's tact and strength under scrutiny echoed Morgan Freeman's ability to navigate sensitive topics with wisdom and composure. It happened during a memorable interview on 60 Minutes, where Morgan Freeman stunned Mike Wallace with his unexpected and candid take on Black History Month.
Black History Month you find ridiculous. Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You want to say, well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Morgan Freeman challenged the interviewer's perspective on racial issues, offering a thought-provoking response that shifted the narrative. His approach encouraged a deeper understanding of the subject, but sometimes humor can be just as effective. Enter Jerry Seinfeld, a comedian who doesn't shy away from calling out political correctness when it clashes with his artistic philosophy.
What's going on here?
In a 2014 interview with BuzzFeed on CBS This Morning, what started as a simple discussion about his show quickly escalated into a heated debate about diversity in comedy. The interviewer, trying to be clever, pointed out that most of Seinfeld's guests were white males, likely expecting him to offer a politically correct explanation. But Seinfeld wasn't having it. His irritation was clear as he fired back.
I've noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episodes.
Yeah, let's get into that.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. It really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that.
Jerry Seinfeld used humor to deflect an interviewer's attempt to label his comedy, effectively steering the conversation back on track. His quick wit served as a reminder of the power of levity. His lighthearted tactic differs from Quentin Tarantino's direct confrontation. Quentin Tarantino is known for his unfiltered interviews, but his clash with Krishnan Guru Murthy on Channel 4 News took things to a whole new level. What started as a routine promo for Django Unchained quickly spiraled into a verbal showdown. At first, the interview seemed normal, but when Guru Murthy started grilling Tarantino about violence in his films, things got heated.
And that's why, is that why you think people like watching violent movies? People who are not violent people, or twisted people in any way, but why it's okay to go into a movie and enjoy the violence?
Yeah, well, it's a movie. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. It's not real life. It's a fantasy. You go and you watch, you watch a kung fu movie and one guy takes on 100 people in a restaurant. That's fun.
But why are you so sure that there's no link between enjoying movie violence and enjoying real violence?
I'm going to tell you why I'm so sure. Don't ask me a question like that. I'm not biting.
Tarantino wasn't done. He turned the tables completely, shutting Guru Murthy down and putting him firmly in his place.
I refuse your question.
Why?
Because I refuse your question. I'm not your slave and you're not my master. You can't make me dance to your tune. I'm not a monkey.
I can't make you answer anything. I'm asking you interesting questions.
And I'm saying I refuse.
Okay. Well, no, I was just asking you why. That's fine. So you don't want to talk about anything serious?
I don't want to talk about what you want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the implications of violence.
No, but you haven't fleshed it out. That's the only reason.
It's not my job to flesh it out.
No, it's my job to try and ask you to.
And I'm shutting your butt down.
And that's
Tarantino's fiery exchange with Krishnan Guru Murthy proved that some celebrities won't hesitate to push back when interviews cross the line. But Robert Downey Jr. took a different approach. He didn't argue, he simply walked away. In a rare and headline-grabbing moment, Robert Downey Jr. ended an interview midway while promoting Avengers: Age of Ultron. Facing the same reporter who had clashed with Tarantino, Downey's patience ran out as Krishnan Guru Murthy shifted from talking about the film to prying into the actor's personal life.
I'm not saying that I'm such a fantasist that I felt like I was Tony Stark, but I felt like it was my persona. But none of us are our personas.
But he's becoming a much more likable character as well, isn't he?
I suppose
a better
so.
man.
Yeah, he's becoming a better guy.
In a way that you are as well, I suppose.
Sure.
I mean, what I'd really like to ask you about a quote you gave to the New York Times, and I don't want to pry, so if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But what you said to the New York Times once was, it was after your incarceration, and you said you can't go from a $2,000 a night hotel suite to a penitentiary and understand it and come out a liberal. And I just wondered what you meant by that.
I couldn't even really tell you what a liberal is, so therein lies the answer to your question.
The statement sort of stands by itself, doesn't it? I mean, does that mean you're not a liberal, or that you came out of prison not being a liberal?
Are we promoting a movie?
As the questions got more invasive, you could see Downey's jaw tightening and his eyes darting around the room.
We also would like to talk a little bit about you, and I don't know how comfortable you are, talking about yourself at the moment.
You have as much time as anyone else will.
Yeah, well, okay, well then let me just ask you a few more questions, and you can answer them if you want to and not if you don't want to. I mean, well, I think we've got 3 more minutes on our agreement.
Your foot's starting to jump a little bit. You better get to your next question.
The reason I'm asking about the past is that you've talked in other interviews again about your relationship with your father and the role of all of that in the dark periods you entered and taking drugs and drinking and all of that.
Finally, Downey had enough. He stood up, his face a mix of anger and disbelief, took off his mic, then he walked right out, leaving Guru Murthy looking stunned.
And I just wondered whether, you think you're free of all of that, or whether that's still something.
I'm sorry, I really don't. What are we doing?
Well, I'm just asking questions. That's all.
Right.
I mean,
Bye.
Thank you guys. Are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Do you?
You seem okay. It's just getting a little dinosaur in your.
This whole thing got people talking about how far is too far in celebrity interviews. Downey's walkout showed that sometimes the best way to handle a pushy interviewer is to just leave. But Russell Brand took a different approach to handling an awkward and disrespectful interview. When he stepped onto the set of MSNBC's Morning Joe to promote his comedy tour, no one could have predicted the bizarre series of events that would unfold.
I know. I'm told this. I'm not very pop cultured. I'm sorry. Comedian, movie star, author, and host of the show Brand X, Russell Brand. This summer, he's embarking on his first ever worldwide comedy tour, the Messiah Complex. Katty Kay and Brian Shackman are here as well, and he already told Brian that he might want to disrobe. I'm just saying.
I just thought maybe I could loosen up a little, show a little more chest hair, and he said maybe I should do a little more.
I only think Russell can do that. You look fantastic.
Yeah. That is a very kind compliment. You also look beautiful. Brian, you are free to wear whatever you want. This is one of your freedoms that is afforded to you.
I appreciate that.
Uh-oh.
Silver boot.
From the outset, the host treated Brand as if he wasn't even there, talking about him in the third person as though he were an alien specimen on display, and he lets it go until this.
Clear. If you say something that people are confused about, you can explain it to them then. If you say something as a joke, people can't pretend that you're saying it seriously. So I like having direct communication with people because I believe people are very, very intelligent, but the information gets manipulated a lot and people like to cause fake stirs and stuff.
You know, funny, the accent, when I see him in person, it's totally fine. Forgetting Sarah Marshall or the TV show, it's fine. But on satellite radio in the car, I can't understand a single joke you say.
You can't understand it.
Can you understand me?
Yes, but I'm telling you, when I'm driving in the car and everyone's laughing in the audience of the radio, I'm like, I have no idea what he's
It's best you focus on your driving, Brian. You're a man, you don't want to be distracted by humour. You might crash into a pedestrian.
Okay. So it's a good thing.
I think it's probably for the best.
I think I'm just this is my first
brand experience.
Yeah. I think it's not listening to him. It's experience. It's just sort of taking it all in.
You are talking about me as if I'm not here and as if I'm an extraterrestrial. I'm from a country that's near to you.
Window dummy. We're just sort of admiring the whole. It's the whole thing, isn't it?
Well, thank you for your casual objectification.
It's an experience.
I'm glad that it's positive for you.
It's very positive. Absolutely. Any other questions?
He finally had enough and decided to fire back.
You've become nervous. Why are you nervous?
Really?
You're a powerful woman. You've got a lovely job. What seems to be the trouble?
I don't know.
You've got a hair like Princess Diana.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I've never
when she was alive. It wasn't being offensive.
Here's a little subtext.
Yes.
We love this.
Willie,
what seems to be the trouble, love?
No, I'm good.
Well, now we're going to do a bit of therapy. Would you do therapy with Willie Brandt?
With who?
Willie Brandt. Would you do therapy with him?
I don't think.
Because that's where he's heading.
Okay. I'm all right.
Yeah. You shouldn't say he when a person is present. You should refer to the person by their name. That's basic good manners.
That is where Willie is heading.
Who is Willie?
I don't know. Okay, Russell Brand.
Is this what you all do for a living?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm here
professional.
Okay, well, let me help you. I'm here to promote a tour called Messiah Complex. It's here for the people of America. Stop saying he. I'm present. Russell. What's wrong with your manners?
You're good.
Be polite.
Good.
I'm coming in tomorrow with a big necklace and I'm opening it up.
Look beyond the superficial. That's the problem with current affairs. You forget about what's important. You allow the agenda to be decided by superficial information. What am I saying? What am I talking about? Don't think about what I'm wearing. These things are redundant.
I'm distracted.
Superficial.
Russell Brand turned the tables on the hosts of Morning Joe, calling out their lack of preparation and dismissive attitude. His articulate critique highlighted the need for mutual respect in interviews. Matthew McConaughey, however, faced a different kind of challenge on The View, a politically charged moment with Joy Behar. The interview was meant to focus on the Oscar-winning actor's children's book, but Matthew McConaughey found himself in a tense exchange with Joy Behar after she interrupted just to take a jab at his close friend, tennis champion Novak Djokovic.
When he brings them up
Isn't he
and
an
where they started.
anti-vaxxer?
An anti-vaxxer?
So, yeah. Just saying.
Way to bring it down.
But you were
just kidding.
Not only that, Joy Behar continued to ask him,
State of Texas, do you think political office is in your future? Can you see that?
If it's where I would deem myself to be most useful,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
it was a clear attempt to corner him on a sensitive issue, especially considering his recent work in Uvalde following the tragic school shooting. McConaughey held his ground, skillfully flipping her question back at her and shutting it down with a calm yet firm response.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is To give you a direct statement right there is me playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. To give you a direct statement right there.
It was a masterclass in standing your ground without losing your temper. But not all celebrities manage to keep their cool. Lindsay Lohan, for instance, found herself in a tense exchange with David Letterman. Lohan's appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman was supposed to be a simple movie promo, but it turned into a tense showdown when the famous host couldn't resist poking fun at her personal life.
Now, aren't you supposed to be in rehab now?
Do you not watch anything that goes on?
I do.
Tabloid now?
Now here's what
May 2nd.
I was under the May 2nd.
Yes.
And how long will you be in rehab?
3 months.
How many times have you been in rehab?
Several.
And how will this time be different? What are they rehabbing, first of all? What is on their list? What are they going to work on when you walk through the door?
We didn't discuss this in the pre-interview.
No,
Normally, topics like this are off limits, worked out in pre-interviews between celebs and their teams. But Letterman seemed to ignore those boundaries entirely. He relentlessly peppered Lohan with deeply personal questions, turning what should have been a fun conversation into an uncomfortable spectacle.
Now, do you have addiction problems?
Now you sound like Dr. Phil.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is it like alcohol? Do you drink too much?
We've discussed this in the past.
Oh, did we really? When did we discuss?
Well, because
I'm the one who's having the blackouts. What is that?
I'm just saying.
I ought to be in rehab, for the love of God. What is wrong with me? So now, when you go to the rehab, what do they do?
We're here for a movie.
We have to what?
Let's stay on the positive.
Oh,
aside from that side of the positive.
Yeah. All right.
Are you okay now? It feels like people should be helping you. Do you have money saved? Therapy? Ask yourself, why always in trouble? I'm a target. I've always been. And I put myself in the past in situations where, I take full responsibility for it. And it wasn't funny. And I was being immature. And I was going through a phase. And I had a lot of family stuff going on and things in life. And you grow up and you're mature, and I've said that a million times, I know that, but what else am I supposed to say when it's a process of life, and I'm not trying to deny anything that any situation I've been put in.
Well, that's very nice of you to say all of this, and I'm happy for you. No, but I think you should be.
I know where this is going.
No, you don't know where it's going, but I'm saying.
No, I don't.
You're lucky that now we have this rehab that you're looking forward to, and you're saying what you say and you feel what you feel before you got hurt or someone else got hurt.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to taking time for myself, and the next time I come on the show, that will be in my past, and that's the past.
Let's show them a clip of the film. This opens Friday. A scary movie. You have to be in rehab May 2nd. Are you going to be there? You'll be there, right? Who's taking you to rehab? You don't want to talk about that either, right?
Oh, God. Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
And you.
Jimmy and I will drive her to rehab.
Finally, Lohan had enough. She pushed back.
And so when you come out, you'll...
No, but I don't want people to think that I'm making a joke of that.
No, you shouldn't make a joke
I'm not.
because this could be good for you. It will be good for you.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. Have you been to this place?
No, it's not like a joking matter.
No, you have enough spine, enough sense of yourself, enough poise to come out here and talk to me. All right, that's enough.
I thought this was going to be vodka.
Oh. Now, you got to. We'll do
it's
that.
It's not funny because
do that on Fallon.
It's hurtful towards me. No, I love seeing you.
Yeah, I love seeing you. Honestly,
I do.
It's nice. Oh,
stop.
Oh, she's tearing up a little bit. God bless you.
I love you too.
The way Lindsay Lohan was pressured on The Late Show is a stark reminder of how celebrities are often subjected to disrespectful treatment during interviews.
Give you a direct statement right there is me playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. To give you a direct statement right there.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Sometimes the View hosts cross over the line and celebrities have to put them in their place. We've compiled the most brutal moments from The View where guests stood their ground, like when Matthew McConaughey had a tense face-off with Joy Behar after she interrupted him just to insult his close personal friend, tennis champion Novak Djokovic.
And when he brings them up
Isn't he
and
an
where they started.
anti-vaxxer? I believe
An anti-vaxxer?
I believe so, yeah. Just saying.
Way to bring it down, Joy. I'm just kidding.
Joy Behar asked if he thought he could get elected in Texas while being anti-gun, but McConaughey wasn't having it. He fired back, calmly shut her down.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is playing a game that I'm not interested in playing.
Okay.
The hosts were stunned. This wasn't the relaxed, chill guy they thought they'd cornered. Sonny Hostin attempted to salvage the situation, but the actor's refusal to take the bait.
2021, you consider to run for governor of the state of Texas. Do you think political office is in your future? Can you see that?
If it's where I would deem myself to be most useful,
yeah.
Yes.
McConaughey showed that sometimes the best way to deal with loaded questions is to simply refuse to play along. But Tulsi Gabbard, with her sharp political instincts, turned her interview into a tactical masterclass. Instead of playing defense, Gabbard went on the attack.
I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts. Because recently on your show here,
I was just going to get to that.
You have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence to know what's going on.
They use that.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
The host tried to regain control, but Gabbard wasn't backing down.
The record straight, I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country.
As the host got more and more annoyed, Gabbard kept her cool. She talked about enlisting in the military after 9/11.
I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day.
The host tried to throw Gabbard off with aggressive questioning, but she remained calm and collected.
Be so demeaned in such a way.
But you called her the personification of rock.
So demeaned
She's a woman
in such a way. Well, I'm pointing to the fact that she has continued this legacy of being the world's police around the world, that has waged wars costing the lives of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I'm speaking out against that and
What's your evidence to that?
To change.
Well, can I?
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
I served in the war
Not
in
you,
Iraq.
her. You're saying that she's
exactly.
she's a
I
warmonger.
served
How do
in
you
the
come
war
up with
in
that?
Iraq
Yeah.
that she championed. She championed a regime change war
Did you not
in
believe
Libya.
in that war?
I believe the lies that were told to us.
Well, so did she.
Look, it is indisputable. It is.
While Tulsi Gabbard stood her ground on foreign policy, Tim Scott brought the same level of poise and conviction to the topic of race, leaving the host struggling to keep up.
One of the things I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show, is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on this show, that the only way for a young African-American kid to be successful in this country is to be the exception and not the rule. That is a dangerous, offensive, disgusting message to send to our young people today, that the only way to succeed is by being the exception.
But Scott was just getting started. He rattled off a list of accomplishments that made their heads spin.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is we've had an African-American president, African-American vice president. We've had 2 African-Americans to be secretaries of the state. In my home city, the police chief is an African-American who's now running for mayor. The head of the highway patrol for South Carolina is an African-American.
The View's hosts squirmed in their seats, desperately trying to regain control of the conversation.
40% homelessness
and 50%
of African Americans.
Of the folks in our community
get 13% of the population.
You had the chance to ask the question. I know that I've watched you on the show that you like people to be deferential and respectful, so I'm going to do the same thing.
True.
But Scott wasn't having it. He hit them with another zinger.
ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN, CNN, Fox News all have African-American and Hispanic hosts. So what I'm suggesting is that yesterday's exception is today's rule.
While Tim Scott used poise and facts to shift the conversation, Norm Macdonald showed it could be done with humor too. In a different episode, he turned the conversation into a hilarious takedown.
And, you know, there used to be a word we would all say to mean stupid that we don't say anymore, right?
Yeah.
You know the word I'm talking about? Yes. And stupidly, I was about to say that word,
And you put this.
and I stopped and said, what's the right word to say? And then I said a different word that was equally.
When asked about his controversial comments on the Me Too movement, Macdonald dropped a bombshell.
Probably
I
offended a lot of
realized
people.
at that moment that I'd done something unforgivable.
Yeah. Right.
Joy Behar tried to take back control. Macdonald cut in with a sharp, perfectly timed reference to Barbara Walters' iconic phrase used on The View before.
And, about Roseanne and you know, I don't want someone to end up killing themselves or anything.
Of course not.
Yeah. So often people will come and say, you know, some guy said a joke and you're asked to defend it, and the joke is always horrible. Like it's the worst joke you've ever heard. And you're in this position where you have to defend a terrible joke on free speech, you know. But I always, like, reporters always ask you, like, what's offensive? Is anything over the line? And I personally think almost everything is over the line.
It was clear he was trolling them, and they were falling for it hook, line, and sinker. But Macdonald wasn't done. When asked if he had learned his lesson, he simply tapped the tip of his nose repeatedly while looking directly at Joy Behar. The gesture, often interpreted as a sign of lying or contempt, left the host speechless and the audience in stitches.
In general, I think in general, we all have to think very carefully about the words that come out of our mouth because you risk offending somebody or a number of people.
Well, Joy's often said that PC, political correctness, is killing comedy.
It is killing comedy.
As the segment drew to a close, Macdonald delivered the coup de grace.
It's about this.
Well, I hope I hope that I didn't offend any of you guys.
Not at all.
It was a brilliant callback to Ricky Gervais's equally savage appearance on the show, reminding everyone that The View's hosts were once again outmatched by a quick-witted comedian.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
But not every guest uses humor. Sometimes, like when Killer Mike took a more direct approach, shutting down Sonny Hostin's accusations with unflinching honesty. When Sonny Hostin tried to paint him as just another celeb backing problematic politicians, Mike shut it down fast.
You lost me a little bit with your support of Kemp, but let me tell you this.
Not support of
some of
Kemp.
his policies.
I mean, that's some misinformation. You cannot like me, but don't lie on me. I saw someone I really respect, a black woman who's a commentator.
The hosts were stunned, while Mike explained he's all about hyper-local politics. He doesn't care about the national drama The View loves.
But if you are concerned with the federal election, you don't know who your city council or your wardsman is, you don't know who your mayor is, and you don't have a good list of state representatives or governor, then you're just a part of whoever wins the Super Bowl or fanfare.
Mike's appearance reminded everyone that real change starts at home. But the next guest took an entirely different approach, shutting down their race-focused questions with calm authority.
The legendary Billy D. Williams has a decades-long list of unforgettable roles and is still really one of the smoothest superstars on the planet.
Sonny Hostin thought she had the perfect setup to push her race-focused agenda, but Billy D. Williams was about to paint with a full palette instead of black and white.
So you did start, as Whoopi said, in the industry at a time when few people of color were on TV and in movies, and early...
Everybody's a people of color.
Yes. Well, a black man.
Well, a brown-skinned man?
Brown-skinned man.
Hostin tried to pivot, asking about Williams' experience as a person of color in Hollywood. Unbothered and calm, Williams kept his cool while shutting her down like a true chill guy.
Did you ever think about quitting? And if you didn't, what kept you going?
You know, you just live from moment to moment and do what you have to do.
The hosts looked lost, scrambling to steer the conversation back to their planned narrative, but Williams kept hitting them with perspective.
What was that phrase, the gender phrase, what do you call it?
Oh, toxic masculinity?
No.
Okay.
It's
gender fluid?
Gender fluid.
Yeah. Gender fluid.
Yeah, and my daughter got very excited about that.
Did she?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because she's a liberal.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Those damn liberals.
While Billy D. Williams used wit and perspective to redirect the conversation, Dr. Phil broke down the host's strategies piece by piece.
Well, Counselor, that's a compound question, and I object.
In the interview, Joy Behar tried to label Donald Trump a narcissist.
Big names are saying that Donald Trump is showing signs of narcissism, which, by the way, one of the symptoms is preoccupied with the fantasies of unlimited power, success, and brilliance. And they're questioning that he has narcissistic disorder. Number one, do you think that's a mental illness, narcissism? And if so, is he fit to be president?
But Dr. Phil shut her down fast, armed with facts straight from the DSM-5.
Well, Counselor, that's a compound question, and I object. But, you know, people talk about narcissism, but they don't really know what it means. So I brought a list from the DSM-5 about what narcissism really is, because if I asked people to stand up and define it, they wouldn't know.
All right.
And let's just take a vote. One has a grandiose sense of self-importance.
Check.
I mean, check.
How many people does that? That's a lot of people.
Well, that is a lot of people, and if you take out everybody that has any of those characteristics, then you're going to take out a lot of people, including some at this table.
Joy Behar tried to defend herself, but Dr. Phil wasn't having it. He took her down fast.
Wouldn't look at President Obama and say he has narcissistic disorder. So you can't just say they all have it.
I didn't
Some
say they
people
all
have
it.
all the things you said.
Right.
We just checked every one of them.
I said most leaders are under a lot of stress and pressure.
Yeah.
So a lot of them will show anxiety, depression at different times. A lot of leaders will have some affliction at different times because of the pressure and demands of the office.
She could talk about.
Dr. Phil turned The View's emotional chaos into a clinic, exposing their biases and amateur psychology. Some other, like Coleman Hughes, shut down Sunny Hostin with logic she couldn't refute.
I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here. And I think it's better, and it would be better for everyone if we stuck to the topics rather than make it about me with no evidence.
But he also says you must include race.
No, he didn't. He says it's
Yes, he does.
Okay, well, everyone should go read the book Why We Can't Wait. Let's not get sidetracked by that.
Hughes, a Columbia philosophy graduate and podcaster, dismantled The View's usual black and white thinking on race with sharper, nuanced arguments.
By this, arguments for a colorblind America. What do you mean when you say that?
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy. Of course. And the reason I wrote this book, thank you.
The young intellectual kept his cool, dropping facts and historical context like a surgical strike.
In the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything, right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism, and that's why I wrote this book at this time. My argument is that you actually get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income. That picks out people in a more accurate way.
When Sunny Hostin suggested Hughes was being used by the right, he shut that down fast.
Your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed, in my opinion.
Because how do you address that in the way that actually targets poverty the best?
Great.
And what Martin Luther King wrote in his book, Why We Can't Wait, is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor.
And so your argument for color blindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted. And so many in the black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
So how do you...
I don't think I've been co-opted by anyone. I've only voted twice, both for Democrat. No evidence that I've been co-opted by anyone. I have an independent podcast. I work for CNN as an analyst. I write for the Free Press. I'm independent in all of these endeavors, and no one is paying me to say what I'm saying.
Hughes even pointed out how the anti-racism movement is actually similar to white supremacy in how it treats race.
You compare those two things.
I
You talk
compare
about
them because-
anti-racism, you're comparing it to white supremacy.
Because they both view your race as a extremely significant part of who you are. So white supremacists, they obviously say, we all know what they say, okay? Neo-racists like Rob DiAngelo, they say that to be white is to be ignorant, for example. Well, this is a racial stereotype, and I want to call a spade and say this is not the style of anti-racism we have to be teaching our kids. We should be teaching them that your race is not a significant feature of who you are. Who you are is your character, your value, and your skin color doesn't say anything about that.
Coleman Hughes proved that guests could outmatch The View's hosts with intellect, and The View's reputation has taken a serious hit lately, with even comedians like Tim Dillon calling out the show's lack of substance on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Like, there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View. None of them have gone near the set of The View.
Over the years, The View has hosted some truly disgraceful interviews. What was your favorite moment? Did we miss any? Let us know in the comments below, and please click subscribe.